If you think your life is meaningless and you're stuck in it, you're suffering from bad belief systems. It has nothing to do with some objective meaninglessness. You feel stuck because you have programmed your mind into believing this is the case. So you've lost the ability to actually cultivate meaning. There's nothing true about it except your mental programming, despite what philosophy wants you to believe or moves you towards. And once you believe that this meaninglessness is true, and you're sure that there is no way out, then you behave like there's no way out. And welcome to the hell loop. This works for all sorts of belief systems that just make you mad or sad. And social media is making this way worse. Because it's not an accident that when you engage with social media, you feel a ton of negative emotions. These companies know exactly what they're causing to modern society. It's not a conspiracy to believe that these negative emotions are there to make you buy into them and engage more with their algorithms, even if it makes you feel miserable or negative or hateful against other people. And the only way out is to shift how you see reality. But it's not only about bad belief systems that you need to change in order to shift reality. All belief systems are a problem. All of them will ultimately corrupt you in one form or another. A set of beliefs are ideas that you take for truth without having undeniable evidence. But people don't look at beliefs according to this definition. They take beliefs as the truth, as if they are the same, without evidence. When almost everything you think is true is actually just a belief. You might believe that the earth is round, for example. But you would not say it like this, right? You don't say, I believe the earth is round, or I believe the earth is a sphere. You say, you know that the earth is round. But have you ever tested the evidence yourself? Do you simply trust the authorities on this issue? Have you enough understanding of physics to explain to me why the earth must be a sphere? Or does considering that the earth is flat make you uncomfortable? That this is something that you don't need to question because it's just obvious knowledge? And yeah, this might seem like a silly line of questioning, but I want you to see how it actually feels like to be confronted with something you are very certain of is true, and then having to doubt that. Because why would you doubt something that you're so certain of? It's very likely that you judge me right now as a potential flat earther, and then you can discredit everything else I have to say and just move on with your day. That's much easier than actually wondering if the earth is flat. I'm not a flat earther, by the way. That's extremely stupid. But are you willing to be stupid for the pursuit of truth? Because chances are that if you're miserable, you're being stupid about something, and you'll have to question this with the same level of certainty, like the flat earth example. This is how it feels like to question something you are certain about. You don't believe things because you think they're true. You believe them because they are socially safe to believe in. Most likely you believe things because they make you fit into a social group. The point of judging other people is always to play a game of social hierarchies and outcast people who believe things that don't fit with your worldview. This is why it's so hard to think for yourself, because most people think of themselves as part of a group or a net, and they have to organize everything around this net. Because if my group thinks that this person is evil, and I actually don't think this person is evil, well, am I now evil to my group? Real knowledge requires going against social judgment purposefully, and it's always much easier to conform. But you can also be certain of the fact that no matter in what time you're in, conformity always means you're wrong about something. But there's a simple skill that frees you from this toxic relationship with beliefs that I want to teach you, to become free from biases and this tendency to doubt yourself. When humans start to come in contact with a new belief system and something about it feels appealing, it gets kind of imprinted in the brain. And then like engravements in a stone, it gets deepened and deepened into the fabric of the material. Over years, believing the same things, being around people who believe the same things, this engravement erodes this part of your brain. And then high conviction in this belief becomes so natural that questioning it feels like an attack to your identity. It's hard to question because whatever belief it was has become so much a part of you that you can't really separate or tell the difference between a belief and you yourself. It is something installed. All high conviction beliefs are engravements without consent. That's the funny thing about it. You're not even deciding to believe whatever you believe. Your brain does it for you, and now you think it is you because you just got used to it, when it actually was not consensual from the start. And then you feel identified with it. If you think about this, the entire concept is very silly to feel like identified with beliefs, because your culture, your genetics, and your environment have chosen for you what you believe in. But you want to claim ownership of it, feel smart and special because of it. And it doesn't make any sense. Beliefs are not your merit, and they are definitely not your fault either. All high conviction beliefs corrupt your identity because you bias yourself too much to one side of an idea, when there are always multiple ways of looking at things. An identification with one idea will always make you blind to its opposite. Social media algorithms will take the opposite of an idea and vilify it. They will make it to be the enemy. Maybe you are pro men's rights, and now you see people opposing that, like feminists, as enemies. And you consume now media, because the algorithm shows you the media of the worst feminists out there with the worst arguments, and just the most evil and bad actors. So hating them and hating the beliefs that are associated with them is just the obvious and easy choice. And now if anybody gives a pro argument to this, you don't think about the belief, you think about the evil people you don't want to associate with. So you completely reject the entire concept. And this is happening on all layers of society, especially in politics. This is being weaponized relentlessly. Or you are a communist and you hate rich people, and now you'll see only the worst aspects of capitalism to polarize you further into communism or anarchy. But if you can't give a great argument for why capitalism has been beneficial or why modern feminism has helped society, then you've just polarized yourself and been puppeteered by other people more powerful than you. These are two examples of infinite ones. But in both of them, it's very clearly the case that you are not in control of your mind if you get polarized in one direction. What you want to learn is the ability to think in superpositions. Thinking in superpositions is the ability to hold multiple contradictory beliefs in your head at the same time without needing to jump to an immediate conclusion. To be able to sit with the certainty and not bias yourself for one way or another if you don't know the answer, if you don't have enough information. It's the skill of being able to be peaceful in uncertainty while still moving ahead with a decision. This means you can consider multiple points of view at the same time while not being stuck in one way or the other, independent of what other people believe. And I found this is the hallmark of genuine intelligence. Do not be easily polarized in one way or another, also by things you think are obvious right now, like what science has indoctrinated you with materialism, for example, which is such an amazing example of everything that I say right now might sound very rational to you. But then if you're a materialist and then I say something that sounds more idealistic or more spiritual, then it's the same mechanism, right? It's just like, oh, this is too woo-hoo, this reminds me of delusional people, I'm not going to listen to what he says anymore. And the same goes into the opposite direction. Some people who are deeply religious hear scientists and they think about demonic atheists and also don't listen anymore. So this doesn't mean to be stupid. You are allowed to have opinions of things. You're allowed to have strong opinions about things even. I still think communism is way worse than capitalism, and that modern feminism has caused more good than harm. But I could equally argue the opposite if you prompted me to, and I still have an opinion about it. I'm not attached to any belief, nor am I in some weird centrist position where I don't have an opinion. The difference is that I have no web of beliefs I'm entangled with. I have no political web of beliefs that I must all agree to. There are subtle layers of identification that are normal, right? But always be wary of your own bias. Because whatever it is that you believe, it does not define you. People will put you in a box, and they will put me in a box, no matter what you say. And that's just life. But don't put yourself in a box. Be free to change and reinvent yourself every day new. This stops all this anxiety for social judgment and social validation as well. And it's much more fun to be controversial than to conform anyway. It is what makes for good conversations and good content, to be frankly. On deeper levels of this process, there's also a reality shift in consciousness that happens. There is a belief system integration that directly relates with self-integration. Because when you debias yourself from all sort of belief system, you actually start to feel that you come in contact with your core identity, your true self, untouched by social judgments or desires to be part of a group, or to find love, or to be somebody special. It's an emptiness that instead of feeling lonely feels empowered, because it knows that it cannot be destroyed. It cannot be superior or inferior than anybody, because it's always whole. And it also can indeed make up whatever it wants for its own enjoyment, like purpose and meaning and beliefs that help you grow and prosper, like the belief that you are worthy and that you can accomplish great things, much greater than you can possibly imagine. And then all this darkness in the world can be overcome by a different perspective, by a different relationship and approach to life. You can see both sides of the coin, both of the dark aspects of reality and the light ones, and you can then choose which direction you want to move towards without being stuck in a framework or belief system. From this emptiness, you can construct beliefs that serve you, that lead you towards a better place, and you won't have to philosophically overthink it or wonder about it or justify it for yourself, because you just know. Okay, thanks for watching this far. There are two things I want to ask of you to do. First, check out my self-destructive belief tier list if you liked this video. I go into more depth about the black pill, nihilism, and other causes of suffering. If you haven't seen it yet, then I strongly recommend it, as you're surely going to love it. And beyond that, if you want to take the next step into the deconstruction process, check out the link to my Substack in the description. There I create direct transformational material for people to deconstruct their negativity and find oneself.